This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, one and all. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you live and around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, the Starcom Radio Network, the Digital Broadcast Network, and the Digital Satellite Network. And if you'd like to send us an email, my email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And our radio website, where you can listen to the X-Zone, the live broadcast Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight. And then for the rest of the week, we play the repeats of the best of the X-Zone 24/7, 365 at www.xzoneradiotv.com. I would just like to thank all of the people who have sent me emails, who have sent me messages on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, and all the other social networks we're on, and who were just thanking us for the debate we did last night with Billy on the Billy Meyer UFO case with Michael Horn and Stanton T. Friedman. These guys last night were great, two professionals, and what was so wonderful for me was I actually saw the melding of two camps into one. You've got the North American representative for Billy Meyer, Michael Horn on one side. You've got the great-grandfather of ufology, a nuclear physicist, Stanton T. Friedman, joining forces to investigate the Billy Meyer case through scientific eyes, but also setting up a new program or a new criteria for UFO investigations, bringing everybody together. It was great. And I want to thank all the members of the X-Zone Nation. I want to thank our networks. I want to thank our affiliates. But most of all, the members of the X-Zone Nation. Now, if you listened to the show last night and you'd still like to get your poll results in, just go to www.xzoneradiotv.com. The poll is right there as soon as you put that into the your search engine page or your web browser. And you tell us who you think won the debate last night, Stanton Friedman or Michael Horn. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is a lady I've had the pleasure of having on the show before. Her energy and her positive attitude is unbeatable. KOOCH Daniels is my guest. She is a professional intuitive living in the San Francisco Bay Area. Early in life, KOOCH studied palmistry with the metaphysical group NROOG that laid the groundwork for developing her divinity skills. Her interest in esoteric traditions motivated her to travel to magical India to study palmistry, and this experience, mixed with obtaining her degree in psychology, was a turning point in becoming a professional reader. Her fascination with what lies behind the veil has inspired a lifelong study of esteemed mysticism with many teachers. Joining me now from the beautiful state of California is KOOCH Daniels. And KOOCH, welcome back to the X-Zone.
Thank you, Rob. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, we're glad you're with us. Like I was saying, KOOCH, I love your energy and I love how positive you are. I'm getting energized over here. I feel like I'm talking to the Energized Bunny.
Well, I want you to know you are the Energized Bunny, because I asked for your birth date and information so that I could do an astrology chart for you, because I thought that would be really interesting to see what where the planets are, where your planets are at the time you were born, because that's the blueprint for your potential. And what is really exciting about your chart and why you're doing what you're doing is the nadir of the chart, the lowest point. It's a cardinal point, and it represents the foundation because it's the lowest point on the chart, so it's what holds everything up.
Right.
You have the planet Jupiter sitting right in your third house. Third house is communication and radio and networking, and Jupiter is sitting right there at the very bottom of your chart. Jupiter is a planet of expansion, ambition, philosophy, getting ahead, the things that motivate you. It's also a symbol for good luck, things that come easier to you. And so it makes total sense that you would have your own show and be a spokesperson for new ideas and philosophies, because your chart has the symbol for media right at the very base of the chart, and that's what influences your entire life.
So it sounds like I've been on the right path.
This is your destiny. You're right where you're supposed to be, and you're really good at it.
Oh, thank you, dear.
Because right next to your Jupiter, in fact, it's called a conjunction because it's within 7 degrees, sits your sun. The sun corresponds with positive energy, light, what you radiate. That's also right at the bottom of your chart. So you've got 2 very positive, beneficial planets that are the foundation of your entire being and the direction your life goes.
My goodness. You know, Cooch, I've told this story many times, but there have been times over the years where I have tried to get away from what I'm doing because of one reason or another. And every time I've tried, it's like fate, destiny, or someone from the other side has kind of whacked me on the back of the head and said,
is right, because you're supposed to be exactly where you are. It's where your karma has taken you. You've worked really hard to get where you are. The planets are activators. They activate your life force. They're kind of arrows that point to the direction you're supposed to be going. So the universe really wants you where you are. And sitting really close to Jupiter at the bottom of your chart is Venus, which is love, beauty, the arts, very high vibration. Venus is, we all need love. We all need Venus energy, Eros. So that's sitting right down there. You have what's called a stellar when you've got like several planets. Actually, you have 4 planets at the very bottom of your chart, and they're all really strong, positive planets, including Mercury, which is communication and getting your message out. And the third house is communication. So all of these planets that are really beneficial are sitting in the house of communication at the very bottom of your astrology chart, and you're not supposed to do anything else because you're really, really very magically positioned to be who you are in this, in the work that you're doing.
Wow. Let me ask you a question. Maybe you can answer me based on my chart that you did. And by the way, thank you very much for that, Cooch.
Well, I was really curious because I love your energy. And I'm a man who has this much charisma over the air. It's like, what are your planets like? And it's like, oh, there's those planets. It just kind of maps it right out.
Why me? Why did the universe decide to bless me with the planets where they are at the moment I was born in order for me to do what I'm doing now?
Our soul holds the key to the mystery of our being. And if you believe in reincarnation, our soul is eternal and it keeps being with us in whatever form we take. And I had an embodied UFO person put me on a machine, by the way, and had me go through all the files of my past lives where I could actually, it was like going through a file drawer, and every time I went into a new file, I went into a new body, and I could see myself and be myself in that lifetime and, like, look out those eyes. So I really believe in reincarnation and past lives. But you don't get to where you are unless your soul is awake and you've done the training to be in the present form that you have embodied. So it wasn't an accident, and you've done a lot of work to get where you are.
Fascinating. Astrology has always amazed me because when you look at the stars, when you look at the planets, when you look at how many people are on this planet, how many people are being born every day, every hour, every minute, every second around the world, and yet you astrologers, bang, you just knock them dead on.
Well, isn't it interesting that the planets are in some way aligned with who we are?
It is.
We're not separate from the cosmos.
We're
and you're
one.
a very bright, shining star. If you think about being a radiant star, and then you've got these planets that are evolving through you, because the planets are working through you. So every time you take a step forward, you're working on becoming more understanding of the qualities that these planets represent within yourself, and you're affecting the cosmos. You're influencing the destiny of conscious evolution, and the more good you're doing and the more you're broadening horizons for everyone, your star is getting brighter and your truth is becoming more a voice of the universe.
KOOCH, all I can say to that is thank you.
Well, we're supposed to be working to do good work while we're in this body. I mean,
right.
You were saying about how many people are being born every minute in relation to the alignment of the stars, and what does that mean? But think about all the people leaving the planet every minute.
Yes.
And where are they going? And where were we before we got here? So there's like this whole other level of consciousness. When you said, she's interested in what's behind the veil, it's because what is behind the veil is all of what we're not consciously able to see, but there's so much there, and if we can be sensitive to opening our mind to not just what's on our conscious awareness, but what's beyond that, and try to embrace our ancestors, the trail of energy that they've left behind that's in our genetic imprint or our inner DNA, but also where is our consciousness now? And what's going on the other side that can help us, because a lot of beings on the other side are helping us. And when people talk about extraterrestrials, that's a whole nother level of there's other creative possibilities. But think about your ancestors. And where are they now? I mean, that's like a whole nother level of energy that can be influencing you and having an effect on protecting your destiny, and how did you get to where you are right now,
Interesting.
It's also exciting to me.
It is, because the possibilities are endless. And
totally endless.
Yeah.
And if you think about if 7 billion people are on the planet, but how many billions are on the other side?
Oh my gosh. Well,
and that on that other side, they're either coming back to this planet or they're going wherever they're going. But to be trying to tune into what can influence you, be it angels, be it spirits, hopefully not the demonic energy, but, there's like all these influences that are beyond what we can consciously understand.
You see, I'm one of the biggest believers in angels you'll ever find. I believe in angels. I really do. I really do. I've seen an angel. I know they're real. So,
well, how did you meet your angel?
Well, then, it was years ago. And I just told this story the other night when we had Carol Blackburn on, who's an she talks about angels. There you go. Angelologist from Montreal on. And what happened was, it's funny because I'm from Montreal originally, so it was nice talking to her. We, way back when, this had to be in the late 50s, baby food had made the transition from some people were using the glass containers, others were using canned baby food. However, back then, the procedures and safety precautions for putting food in cans wasn't as stringent as it is today. My mom and dad had bought baby food. My younger brother was, he was still in arms. And they didn't know, but they had bought a tainted can of baby food. My mom and dad ended up taking my brother to the hospital, dropping me off at my grandmother's house. The call from the hospital, it did not look very good. My brother had a severe case of ptomaine poisoning. So my grandmother, my grandmother, who was the rock, the foundation of our family, called up all the family, and everybody congregated at Nanny's house. And everybody was in the kitchen. The dining room was right beside it. And, I remember this as if it happened earlier today. And I looked across the kitchen. Everybody's waiting for the call that they all dreaded would come. And there was this man. He was smiling. The only thing I could get from him was love and assurance and reassurance that everything was going to be okay. And I must have been smiling with a smile from ear to ear because my grandmother looked at me and she said, "Bobby, what are you smiling at?" And I said, "That man over there," and I pointed, and there was no man there. As soon as I said that, the phone rang. It was my mom saying that my brother was going to be okay. So I know, I must have been 5 or 6 when this happened. I know for a fact that angels are real.
What a wonderful story. You were lucky because you got to have that experience, and it's so close to the forefront of your consciousness that you can remember the man's smile.
Yes, it was a very heartwarming moment, and I've heard stories from police officers, first responders, doctors, nurses, auto wreck recovery professionals who have attended accidents where people swear that somebody was with them, and just as the emergency responders arrived on the scene, that person was no longer there.
Pretty amazing.
It is. But it's totally believable. And I would just hope that one day people would acknowledge angels like we do around Christmas time. Hark the herald angels sing. The angel that came to the shepherds, the angel on top of the Christmas tree, the angels at the nativity scene.
I think some of our ancestors come back to protect us, and there are angels also. Mm-hmm. For instance, when my mom was dying, I was holding her hand as she was leaving her body, and I could sense and visually see through my third eye her brother on the other side pulling her out of her body to the other side. So her brother was being her angel. And a lot of people who do show up at accidents to sit with people while the emergency people are coming are people from the other side who have a connection with that person, who haven't really left and they haven't left the next realm. They're still hanging around hoovering. They still have cords to people on this side, and they're not free to go to the light because they're wanting to protect them, or they're wanting to be their angels. And so those people, they become real because it's necessary, and the blessing of spirit enables people to see this. Also, people are so in an altered state that they have access to their sixth sense, or think about adrenaline pushing for survival.
Right.
So you have a sense that you normally don't have, and you can see things that normally you wouldn't see. And maybe that is your angel, but maybe your angel is really someone who's like in your family that's passed on.
Right.
Who's standing there guarding you to make sure you're not alone and that somebody's there to hold your hand.
Coach, why do we come back within reincarnation? Is it because we still have much more to learn? Is it because this is a method of going up the ladder of evolution on the next level to the next level to the next level? And what happens?
Not necessarily, because we can go backwards as well as going upwards, I think, as far as levels.
Mm-hmm.
And spiritual masters say that as long as you have desire,
right,
and you're not, it's like you're attached to a desire, you're going to keep coming back to try to experience the fruit or the harvest of that desire, because we have an attachment, and as long as we have an attachment to something, we keep coming back, and until we cut the cord with our attachments and we don't have desires, then we're pretty much going to, we're here until we can let go and not be attached to being here anymore.
And what happens, Coach, once we've accomplished all our goals, all our missions?
Well, I guess we'll get to find out one day if we're lucky, won't we?
Yeah.
Spiritual teachers, well, I mean, I don't know personally because I don't have that experience, but the people who are most spiritually advanced that I've studied with say that once you attain that freedom, that there's different planes of consciousness. So your highest soul consciousness, it's almost like you become one with the Buddha, but there's a plane of Buddhas. So you're kind of like in this Buddha consciousness on a very high level. But when you're in that very high state, you have the choice to remain in that high state, which is bliss and, awakening to your eternal truth of your being. So you have the choice to remain in that state, or you can come back if you so desire, because there's that word desire again. And there's a word called bodhisattva. Bodhisattva are awakened beings. Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, she's a very popular Oriental goddess, Kuan Yin. Supposedly she was a bodhisattva that came back from that higher plane of manifestation, and she came back to be someone who could heal and take care of people. And so she's still the goddess of compassion. But bodhisattvas are people supposedly who are awakened beings who return here consciously to help the planet evolve.
Coach, what is the most exciting part of what you do for you?
The most exciting part of what I do, for me personally, there's so many different things depending on the situation. I think at this point in my work, I'm getting weirder than ever as far as what I experience. Or maybe I'm more willing to go farther out on a limb, and so I have weirder experiences. I don't know. But I really just feel when I can help a person, it's like, why am I doing the work I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to help people transform negative conscious awareness, or, their negative, where they're stuck. I try to help people move through stuck energy, and when I can hold a person's hand if I'm doing palmistry or look at cards, whatever I'm doing, and when I can help people move a little through their stuff so that they feel hope and they're not lost in negativity, that's very rewarding. And it's not something that I'm guaranteed to do with every person. And there's different levels of being able to help people, and some people don't want to be helped, and some people love to come to psychics so that they can test them and prove that they're not psychic and they're
right.
totally closed down and they're not going to let you inside to do any work anyway. So, I mean, there's so many different kinds of experiences, and sometimes I'm not even trying to have experiences, and I'll have experiences, and then I have to ask, why am I having these weird experiences? And there's usually always a reason, and it has to do with somebody who's close by, and I'm channeling information for them or whatever it is. And so I never know what's going to be happening being in this weird body that I have that is sensitive to stuff that other people might not tune into right away. But I think it's really like working with people and trying to create transformation.
So you're
it's like, what is my purpose? My purpose is to, other than breathing and survival and trying to be more awake myself, because we're always working on our own self, is trying to just be there for other people too.
When did you realize that this is what you were going to do, that this was your destiny?
I think I was one of those children who had a sensitive, very sensitive nature, but I wasn't allowed to tell people that I could see things without being punished. And so I pretty much had to stuff everything, but I kept having magical experiences as a child, and but it wasn't really accepted or allowed. And when I graduated from college, I made an agreement with myself that I was going to run away to California where I could be myself, because I wasn't really allowed to be myself. I grew up in Ohio, and it was a very conservative, I had a very conservative family, and nobody understood. In fact, my family, they thought I was working for the devil when I told them I was doing what I was doing. And I have a sister who says, I can never understand you. I don't get it at all. It's like there's people who just, I mean, I'm talking to you. You talk to people like me all the time, so you understand. But there's people, including people I'm really close to, like my family, who are totally clueless and in disbelief and didn't want to hear it because it scared the crap out of them. Or they just didn't get it, whatever. So I had to come to California I think I got here when I was 19, and when I was 17, I started going into houses and doing ghost busting and trying to contact the other side. So I was actively trying to do that. And if I would tell my parents, they would tell me I was going to be in a nut house, and they were expecting to have to come visit me in an asylum. So I couldn't really do anything as long as I stayed in Ohio. So I moved to California, and I started getting involved with the New Rug, that group that you said, and I started doing more training to discipline what I was feeling, and I learned how to do readings and started doing professional readings when I was 22, actually 21, 22, I can't exactly remember, but I started doing readings at a very young age, and I was natural because it just came naturally to me. So it was good to get some pointers on how to do it, but it didn't take me long to immediately start doing it. So I know it was something that I came into this world knowing how to do because I knew how to do it. And I've been reading ever since. And that's 4 decades of spending my life running around doing readings.
Or, as I would like to say, 4 decades of helping people in their lives.
That's my mission, yes.
Sounds like mission accomplished, dear friend.
Still trying to accomplish.
I know, but
some days are better than others,
Yeah, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter where you live, some days are always better than others. Cooch, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation, our guest this hour is Cooch Daniels. Her website, cybermystic.com. That's www.cybermystic.com. And Cooch and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We have a programming note for tomorrow night. Kathleen Marden was going to be our guest. But sadly, we were informed today that Kathleen's dad is not doing very well. So Stanton Friedman is going to be stepping in for Kathleen Marden tomorrow. And as you know, Stanton co-wrote a book with Kathleen. So we look forward to speaking to Stan, even though we spoke to him last night. He's a great guy. And Kathleen, if you're listening, all the love and all the blessings to you and your family from all of us here in the X Zone. My name's Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side with KOOCH Daniels as we continue from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Ever wondered if your advertising dollar is really working for you? If your ad would have been here, you and more than 4 million people would be listening to it right now. Contact ads at xzoneradiotv.com. What if Jesus came back now and insisted that we listen to him? How would the world be different if Christians really followed the Gospels? For 2,000 years, we've been practicing a religion. Now it's finally time to get it right. Read Liberating Jesus, new from Roberta Grimes. Meet the Jesus you never knew. Roberta uses afterlife evidence and biblical analysis to prove that Jesus is exactly right. Learning the lessons that he came to teach is the reason we are born at all. Roberta says he has come back now to insist that we actually listen to him so we can begin to use his teachings to unite and transform the world. Liberating Jesus on Amazon, October 1st, and then wherever books are sold. Jesus has the answers, and it's not too late. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State-certified occupational school, training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
The Carl O. Helvey Holistic Cancer Foundation is a new nonprofit foundation that focuses on a holistic approach to cancer that includes physical, mental, spiritual, and political aspects. Cancer education, research, and care are provided for all types of cancer patients. You can listen to interviews with cancer doctors and survivors and read research on holistic aspects of cancer at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com. That's www.holisticcancerfoundation.com. Hear ye, hear ye! The King has just announced the release, no pun intended, of the latest book of comedy, The Endearing Fart by Eileen Dover, noted fartologist. The endearing fart from our butt does it does. Without it we'd all suffer inside. So let it be, release it with glee, it's not comfy or easy to hide. The social norm would have us conform to withholding our gas for decorum. I'll not be a martyr, but rather a farmer. I'll risk being thought of a moron. But noisy but free, come fart with me. Will not be shy or unyielding. A smelly toot? Who gives a hoot? It's natural, healthy, good feeling. The enduring fart is the perfect gift just for about anyone. Buy now at tinyurl.com/to-buy now.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Welcome back, everyone. Cooch Daniels is my very special guest this hour. Cooch is talking to us from her home in the San Francisco Bay Area, and her website is cybermystic.com. Cooch, can anyone become a psychic, or does it take someone special with some special born intuitive measure like you have?
Can anyone be a piano player? It takes someone who feels the energy of music and wants to sit and practice to learn how to make it really beautiful so that other people want to listen. And my sense is we all have a third eye or the sixth sense, but a lot of us are so locked in our logic and being practical and worrying about finances that we don't take time to listen to our intuition, and we block our feelings or we block our sensitivity so that we're not bombarded with things that aren't going to take us down our professional path. So it really is available to people if they want to develop it. I'm sure people can, and a lot of people are intuitive, but they don't make a big deal out of it, and they don't really make a profession out of it, but they know they're intuitive. And then there's the people who just like, oh, no, I'm not intuitive. So it's inside of us, but if we develop that potential or not, it depends on where we are in our soul development.
So how can someone train themselves to better use their intuition if they truly believe that they have the gift?
There are teachers to help. You can take psychic development classes. There's books on psychic development. Finding a guide, if you have someone who can help train you, to trust it and not be afraid, and also to look at how do you protect yourself. Because when you are more open or more sensitive, you feel more things, and so learning how to filter so that you're not taking, even for doing readings, if you're reading someone who has a real serious illness, say they're having really bad back pain, how do you not take on their back pain? Learning how to protect yourself from taking in things into your being, because you're leaving yourself open. It's more than being open-hearted. It's being totally, it's like all of your centers, your chakras are open to bringing in other people or the energy of nature, depending on where you are. It's can be scary for people if they don't really know how to ground themselves and protect themselves from like overload,
right?
Sensory overload.
But what about people who go out on ghost investigations or ghost walks, and they seem to be looking to have an encounter with someone or something from the other side? Are they playing with danger?
Ghosts normally don't affect. They're ghosts, that meaning, they're not in the material world, right. They're in the ether. So they can't really hurt you. However, if you're out of your body where you're like trying to astral travel and invite those, invite yourself to travel in those astral planes, you can actually have another spirit come in when you're not looking, because you're out there playing around in the astral realm yourself. So they can come in and try to take your body over, which is what elemental spirits do. They want to create mischief. They want to be in a physical body, and they're not without the means to do it if you're vulnerable and ignorant of how to make sure that you're not leaving yourself so open that something can't come in when you're kind of out of your body. And that depends on how much you go into a trance and how far out you go, because there's different levels of being intuitive. What I'm talking about is when people are like consciously trying to connect with the other side, and they're taking their spirit to the spirit world, but then who's in your body? You're not in your body, so you're leaving that open. So how do you protect it from something wanting to come in?
Good question. I've never thought of that.
Oh, that's where possession. That's one of the, when people get possessed, that's one of the paths to possession.
And do you know what happens when you don't pay an exorcist?
Oh, I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
Yeah, you get repossessed.
I knew there was a joke with that. I could feel it coming on. I love it.
All right, Craig, give me your, how did you like that one, Craig? All right, that's his response.
That's a good one. That's good.
Yeah.
I want to repost that. Can I post that on my Facebook?
You sure can. You sure can. With great pleasure. Coach, I find it rather disturbing that there are people who go out and actually try to taunt, to challenge these ghosts. For one thing, I believe, and this is just my own belief, and I hope I don't offend anybody by this, but too bad if I do, that those who have passed, unless they want to communicate with you, should be left alone. Where does the line of respect come here, Cooch? Like going into graveyards, chasing what people believe are ghosts or orbs or whatever. Isn't that a little bit disrespectful to those who have been here and who have passed on and who, for some reason, are remaining behind?
If people are chasing them, those who are disrespectful of the dead, they're leaving themselves open to, they don't even know what they're leaving themselves open to. So people should be careful, because you don't really know. If you mess around with disembodied spirits, for instance, people who have murdered or who are a lot of people who don't know how to leave and move through the astral planes are people who have severe mental illness or who are murderers or rapists, and they're so attached to the physical that they don't want to leave, and they're still trying to create problems. So for people that are like trying to track down ghosts, they should really be discriminating, because they want to find people that are more on the angel side instead of the demonic side, because they can get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and I can't understand why people like going to insane asylums or to high security prisons to look for ghosts. Like, to me, this is nuts. Like, it's playing with fire.
People who have had really painful departures from the physical body, it's like their spirits are crippled, and sometimes that means they don't know how to find the light. And I think mental institutes and prisons, people have attachments to, it's like they get caught in a warp of reality, that before they even die, they're in the astral plane, and knowing the difference between what's real and what isn't real. And it just like people can be more evolved, spirits can be more evolved, and people that have a lot of mental problems or who are prisoners, they are usually less lucky or less evolved. often. I don't want to say everybody, because maybe they're there by accident and they're not supposed to be there, but their karma's got them there to pay for past lifetimes that they need to put it in better order. But a lot of people, I mean, for instance, Gandhi was in jail a lot of the times, and oh my gosh, he was a saint, right?
Yes,
so I'm not saying that everybody's that way, but a lot of people are. And so there's more attachment to the animal nature or the physical nature, and that is very grounding to this planet.
Let me ask you this question, my dear friend. What was your most unusual paranormal experience?
I've had a lot of them, but I'll give you my one that just happened to me a couple weeks ago that had me weirded out. One of my friends from Oregon was down in California visiting her mother because her mother was passing. And so over a 2-week period, she was coming and going to Oregon, and she was staying at my house, coming and going. And then, and I was avoiding going to see the mother because I don't really, because I'm a sensitive and I feel the pain of being in hospitals. Well, the day I was getting these like emergency text messages, please come, please pray for my mother. My mother's passing. So I thought, oh God, I haven't been there to help. I'll go help. So I go to the hospital. Well, actually, it was it was like a hospice hospital is what it was. And I said, you've been here, you haven't had any sleep, to my friend and her husband. I said, I'll sit here with your mom. Why don't you guys go out and have lunch, and I'll keep an eye on her, and if anything happens, you can be back in 5 or 10 minutes, and she'll be here, and you'll be able to be with her. So they went off, and I was sitting outside at the patio right next to the door so I could watch the mother, and I thought, wow, I'm always so busy. I don't have time to meditate. I'm going to sit here and meditate because how nice for me. I'm finally going to have some rest time and I can meditate, keep one eye on the mom's breathing. And so I go into a meditative state, and I'm in the meditative state, and all of a sudden I hear, who are you? And it was just like you talking to me, Rob, and I went, oh my God. And so I kind of like, I woke up more to like somebody's talking to me, and I said who I am, and she wanted to know what I was doing in her space. And I'm realizing that I'm talking to this girl's mother who's in a coma because I'm watching her, and her mouth isn't open, and her mouth and her eyes are closed, and mine's open at this point. And all of a sudden I'm having a dialogue with her, and she asked me to give her daughter a message for her. And part of the message was that the daughter hadn't been holding her hand. She'd been like doing drum beating over her head and singing songs to her, but she wanted her to hold her hand, and that she wanted her to know that her father had held her when she was an infant, because she didn't know that.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I've known this woman for 25 years, and I had no idea that she was illegitimate and that she had never met her father. So I'm totally clueless to this part of her life, and I'm going, oh my God, I am losing my mind. This stuff is going to my head. It's like, I'm just like, I'm starting to lose it. I'm like, I think I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm just like, because here I am just trying to meditate, and all of a sudden I'm talking to this woman who's like asleep. And they came back, and I told Naomi, my friend, I shouldn't even say her name. I told my friend that her mother wanted her to hold her hand, and she goes, oh, really? She goes running to hold the mother's hand because she had not been holding the mother's hand. And I thought, oh, man, well, it's nice that now she's holding the mother's hand. And then I told her what she said about her father had held her as an infant, and she just started crying and telling me that this was a missing link for her because she always had wanted to know if her father had ever had any connection with her, and she thought that she had never met her father, and that her father never had anything to do with her, and that this was like an incredible healing for her. And I was totally weirded out because I was just sitting there trying to like have some downtime, and all of a sudden I'm like talking to this disembodied spirit that's like leaving her body, because a couple hours later she left her body.
Are you bothered by spirits at any given time of the day, at any time of night? And are you able to turn the ability on and off?
I try not to turn it on. And I mean, my husband said to me, wow, I bet if somebody paid you to do that, you couldn't have done that. I said, I didn't even want to do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't plan on doing it. It was totally a freak thing. Sometimes that's part of the
gift?
Trying to be grounded. Well, trying to be grounded because who wants to walk down the street and hear spirits. I don't want to hear spirits, and when I was younger, that was a problem. I had to learn to turn that off, and also that was my questioning: am I crazy? Not crazy? Do I belong in a nut house? Do I, am I? Because learning how not to hear spirits or not to be open to them, and I try not to, unless somebody is asking me to do a ghost seance or something. I try not to get involved. And one of the trainings that I did was learning how to turn off my ability and only use it when it has a purpose, or when I have a purpose to use it.
Exonation, my guest this hour is KOOCH Daniels. Her website is cybermystic.com. A great lady. I love her energy. I love her positive attitude, and it's always great having KOOCH with us here in the X Zone. And KOOCH,
I love you, and I was going to pull a card for you. Let's put some attention on you. Do you have a question or anything, Rob? And I can pull a tarot card for you. Or you don't have to, and I can just pull one. But if you had a question, I'll try to pull a card.
No,
for you.
just pull a card, dear, and let's see what happens.
Okay, here it comes. I'm going through my deck right now, and the card that's coming up is the Ace of Cups. So Ace of Cups is a beautiful card of emotions overflowing to happiness, reconnecting with your emotions on a new level, deepening relationships so that they move to a higher level of understanding, or that you work through resolution so it feels like a new chance or a new opportunity, or going in new directions in new emotional direction. So the Ace of Cups is very positive for you right now, having a really good flow of energy in a good direction.
Well, that's because I have people like you in my life, and the guests that we have on the show and the members of the X Zone Nation. How could anybody go wrong?
I would say you're a pretty lucky man.
I know I am, my dear. I've got the best job in the world because, KOOCH, I know that each and every night that I'm on air, and I've been on air for 24 years, 5 nights a week, 4 guests a night, 20 guests a week, that people who listen to this show, I make a difference in someone's life because of guests who come on who are able to help these people solve mysteries that they've had in their lives. People who may have thought or believed that they've talked to angels or seen angels, but they can't talk to anybody, or they can't share the information with anybody because the people that they know would think they're strange. Or people who believe they have seen ghosts talk to their deceased relatives. All I want to do, KOOCH, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, is touch one heart, make the difference in one life each and every day. If I can do 2, I'm ecstatic.
That's a beautiful ambition. That's a noble ambition. And helping people become more accepting of the energy that's within them it's incredible, because a lot of people don't know how to hold their own spirit within the vessel or within their vehicle, their body, and because it's not conventional, or it's not like the person who's next to them talking about what it's supposed to be. And so what you do is you're helping people become more accepting of what is not necessarily normal, and help them understand that there's different kind of realities, and we all should really embrace who we are, and that stuff that makes us different, it can actually really be beneficial when we can accept it.
That is so true, and I guess that's what I try to do.
I think you're very good at it.
Well, I thank you, my dear friend. KOOCH, as always, whenever you're with us, time goes by so fast. Before we go, what is your message tonight for the X Zone Nation?
What is my message? Okay, this is quick thought just in this moment, for people to really believe that they have clear inner sight and to trust their intuition.
Do you have any thoughts on the state of the world? Because right now, it seems like everyone is walking on eggshells. We have what is happening in Syria, with Russia moving its military to Syria, telling the Americans to stay out of the Syrian airspace. We have the tensions between Iran and Israel. We have the the worldwide tension caused by ISIS. There's so much in this world that people are so worried about.
If each person can honor the love that's within them and be a very bright light, they're bringing more light to the planet, because we as individuals cannot affect what's going on the other side of the world. And if we were in Syria right now, I would be murdered and stoned to death for the conversation I just had with you, because it's so foreign and so unaccepted. But the light that I have inside of me, for where I am right now, if I can bring light to other people, I'm creating more light in consciousness wherever it can go. And if each person can honor their inner light and really try to be a very bright light to illuminate and help make a brighter world, then everybody's doing everything they can do to be the best channel for creating a better planet. And to just really know that, we're blessed that we're not in those war zones.
Yes.
And there's a reason why we're not, and it has to do with our karma and the evolution where where the universe wants our souls to be going, and to really give thanks for that, but to just not get caught up in being angry at our partners because they left their socks on our side of the bed, or, being upset about little things that are not really that big of deals. So trying to be more in touch with the light within our own beings, and to really hold the light as what we can offer to this planet. If every person lit a candle, we would be a very bright planet full of light.
KOOCH, do me a favor, take care of yourself. Never stop being you.
And you too.
And always keep passing the love out and the light, because you are, my dear, a candle in a dark time.
And you're doing it from a very high place, because you've got the media behind you. So you keep your light shining, and the world will be a much lighter place. Thank you so much, Rob.
Blessings to you, my dear friend, and I can't wait until the next time you join us back here in the X Zone. Until then, take care of yourself, and my best to your family.
You too. Love you.
Love
your audience. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, KOOCH. X Zone Nation, KOOCH Daniels has been my guest of this hour. www.cybermystic.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, for more information on KOOCH Daniels, www.cybermystic.com. If you'd like to send an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. And don't forget, we have the poll on our website at xzoneradiotv.com on who you, the X Zone Nation, believe won the debate last night between Stanton Friedman and Michael Horn. I'll be back. Don't go away.